thank you so much for joining us here tonight. I'm your host, Mike Rogers, and with me tonight is our very special, incredibly bilingual co-host, Margot Craig.
Oui, je suis votre co-animatrice Margot. Merci de vous joindre à nous et bienvenue à tous et à toutes.
It gives us great pleasure to bring to you the final installment of this year's Mental Health Speaker Series presented by the Canadian Mental Health Association of New Brunswick. Over this week, we have had the chance to talk with many mental health advocates who have shared their journey with us. And tonight, we will have our final speaker.
Ceci est le dernier webinaire de la série de conférences sur la santé mentale de cette année, présenté par l'Association canadienne pour la santé mentale du Nouveau-Brunswick. Tout au long de cette semaine, nous avons eu le grand plaisir d'accueillir des porte-paroles de la santé mentale qui ont partagé leur voyage avec nous. Ce soir, c'est notre dernier conférencier et notre toute première soirée bilingue.
We hope in presenting this series, we can offer you insight and let you know that you are not alone in your journey and that you'll find hope and understanding that recovery and resiliency is indeed possible. If you're experiencing a mental health issue, please, we ask you to reach out to the numbers that we currently have up in the chat.
Notre espoir en vous présenter cette série est de vous permettre de comprendre que vous n'êtes pas seul dans votre voyage et que vous trouverez l'espoir et la compréhension que le rétablissement et la résilience sont vraiment possibles. Si vous souffrez actuellement d'un problème de santé mentale, il existe de l'aide pour vous. Vous pouvez appeler l'un des numéros de téléphone que nous partagerons pendant la présentation.
During this presentation, if you have any questions at all, at any time, just click that little Q&A button down at the bottom, type it on in there, language of your choice, and we will be covering them all at the end of this presentation.
Comme notre conférencier lui-même, cette session sera bilingue. Si vous avez une question pendant la présentation, veuillez la poser dans la section questions-réponses située au bas de votre écran. Nous répondrons à vos questions en direct après la présentation. Posez vos questions dans la langue de votre choix. Et maintenant, notre conférencier, Nathan Dimitroff, est le seul humoriste bulgaro-acadien au monde. Grâce à son énergie contagieuse et à son sens aigu de timing, Nathan est bien connu pour provoquer des vagues de rire au Nouveau-Brunswick et dans toute l'Atlantique.
Tonight, we have a very special guest. We have Nathan Dimitroff. He is the only bulgarian-Acadian humorist in the world, to our knowledge. His infectious energy and acute sense of timing has caused this bewhiskered fellow to be well known in causing waves of thoughtful laughter across the Maritimes. Nathan invites us to join him in his story, which he swears is in no way exaggerated or fabricated.
I promise.
His school career, his family, his life, his lived experiences, his mental health. Absolutely nothing is off the table with Nathan. Nathan, we are so happy to have you here tonight with us.
Thanks a lot, Mike. Merci beaucoup, Margot. It's a pleasure to be here. You guys are doing an awesome job, just by the way. You guys, It seems like you guys have a nice synergy.
Well, thank you very much. Without further ado, you're the reason everyone's tuned in. Why don't you take right on over?
I'll do it. So, just to do history, on va commencer avec juste un petit... parler de ce que je suis puis ce que je fais puis why this all matters. You see, I'm from the north part of New Brunswick. I'm from Beresford for the people who know the place. You don't pronounce the vowels. You just go Beresford. Tu viens de Beresford Nord, Beresford Sud, right à côté de Bathurst, right beside Bathurst. So mental health issues is something that's really, really important to me because it's something that I've been living with my whole life. C'est quelque chose que comme dans ma vie, j'ai tout le temps vécu avec. Je viens d'une famille importante. I come from an important family, which is always, it sucks to say it. I'm already shaking. Je suis déjà en train de shaker en le disant. C'est que, like I am literally shaking. C'est que il y a une certaine pression, there's a certain pressure that's like on you to always thrive and always live up to the name. Faut tout le temps qu'on soit, comme tu sais, dépendamment, ça se peut que tu es une famille de Duguay, de Alortville, you might be a family of Roys from Petit Rocher, you might be a family of, I don't know, from Frankton. I don't know. I never lived down south. I did for a while, but you kind of always feel you have to live up to something. And when I was younger, I really had a tough time. I was born English, mais j'étais à l'école en français. So comme déjà là, there's the language barrier thing when I was very young. When I went to, it was in first grade, I could not speak one word of French. Puis j'ai fait le monde rire. I made people laugh. Puis comme la première affaire j'ai faite, I ran without my shoes and I slipped and I hit in a whole bunch of chairs. J'ai frappé, j'ai tombé dans plein de chaises. Puis people laughed and I'm like, oh, that's the only way I can make friends. I have to be funny. Faut que je fasse le monde rire. So comme c'était ma première carapace. It was my first mask that I put on when I was young, and like I'm shaking. I can't believe this is way tougher than I thought it was going to be. C'est beaucoup plus difficile que je pensais parce que comme anyways, we'll traverse that bridge une fois qu'on est rendu là. So I kind of created masks when I was young. J'ai comme créé des masques, des carapaces. I put on different masks so I would not have to be myself, because I never really liked myself, because I never thought I could live up to who Nathan Dimitroff was supposed to be. So in life, I was getting laughed at because I didn't speak French well. Le monde riait de moi parce que je parlais pas bien français. So comme déjà là, that made me thrive of being the best francophone ever. I know the French language. Je comprends la langue française beaucoup plus que les francophones le connaissent eux autres mêmes, just because I did not want to be laughed at anymore about that. And wow, this is really affecting me talking about it. But it's important. And it's important for you guys to talk about it also. C'est important que vous en parlez aussi pour avancer. Parce que comme, yes, like what I'm talking about right now, I'm just doing like a background check. Je fais que juste comme un retour en arrière de ce que je suis pour que comme vous compreniez où ce que je m'en vais. But je trouve que c'est à cause que moi j'en ai parlé, moi je suis rendu comme une bonne personne. I'm now a good person because I wasn't afraid of talking about it. So like, this is just another push. Oof, boule dans la gorge. I have a little ball in the gorge, in the throat, little ball in the, I don't, anyways. So I spent most of my life being like, and I was a fat kid, which didn't help. So I was the fat English kid at a French school, which doesn't make you the most popular person in the world. So comme le monde riait de moi à cause de j'avais beaucoup de poids, j'étais gros, je parlais pas bien en français, mais comme j'ai mieux appris la langue française, comme maintenant, comme moi j'utilise le subjonctif. For the English people, this might not say anything, but pour les personnes en français, j'utilise le subjonctif comme on a daily basis. Comme moi, je comprends comment la langue française fonctionne. Ça, j'ai été pendant longtemps, and then got to high school. Let's jump a few years. Sautons une couple d'années. Je suis rendu au high school. I'm at high school now. Je suis à l'école secondaire. L'école secondaire Biscuit, represent ESN. Puis moi, j'ai pas de gang. I don't have a group of friends. The group of friends that I was most with were like the misfits, the kind of, we're not skaters, but we're skaters. We listen to No Effects, and we hang out with the skaters, but we don't skate because we can't. We're not good. And I was the captain of the hockey team. J'étais le capitaine de l'équipe de hockey. I didn't identify with the jocks because just find that the jock mentality wasn't something that I wanted to be. Je voulais pas être comme un jock qui comme piquait sur le monde. So, like, mes dîners, mettons, il y a 5 jours à l'école. Moi, je faisais 2 journées par semaine avec ma gang de misfits. Puis là, je faisais 1 journée par semaine avec la gang de populaire. And then I did hung out with I'd go to the special care, like the special needs class for one lunch a week and help them and talk and blah blah blah. And then I go and I was a bouncing ball, like flubber. So like my social capacity, my social tendencies, mes tendances sociales, c'était comme la boule de flubber, comme une bouncing ball dans une petite salle. So tu tires ça contre le mur, bam, 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 bam. It just bounces everywhere. And that's what I was. C'est ça que j'étais quand j'étais jeune. Puis j'avais encore là pas d'identité de qui ce que je suis. I didn't have an identity yet. Who is Nathan Dimitroff? I still wasn't living up to my dad's standards, my grandfather's standards, because like my grandfather arrived in 1902. Mon grand-père est arrivé au Canada en 1902. He was English, was brought up in the Acadian Peninsula, which is super French, super français. Puis il connaissait tout le monde. Like, there's only one family of Dimitroffs in New Brunswick. Il y a juste une famille de Dimitroff au Nouveau-Brunswick. Puis, like, when someone goes, Nathan Dimitroff, are you related to? I go, yes, because I know that I'm related to that person because in the Ankin family, there's only one family. And like they were businessmen. But they taught me respect, and sometimes respect at, I don't know if I'm saying this right, au détriment, you respect other people so much that you do everything for them and don't respect yourself. Because like by the time I was in high school, par le temps que j'étais à l'école secondaire, j'avais tellement de masques puis de carapaces que j'étais plus moi-même, que j'oubliais ce que j'étais. I had so many masks that I just didn't even know who I was at all. And like, this is, I'm 16, 17, captain of the hockey team, captain of the soccer team. I still didn't know who I was. Qu'est-ce que j'étais? Puis mes parents avaient de la misère. My parents had a lot of mental health issues. Like a lot of depression was like a common thing in our family. Come, my mom would stop her depression, and then my dad would start one, and then it would go like almost like it was like, it's your turn. It's your turn to have depression now. Vice versa. Puis c'est vraiment quand j'ai arrivé à l'université. It's really when I started university, when I got on my own, I could fly through my own wings, that things really started to get tough. I had to move back. I had to drop out of university when I was 20. Quand j'avais 20 ans, il fallait que je lâche l'université. Puis redéménager chez mes parents. Parce que anyways, they diagnosed me wrong. Ils m'ont pas bien diagnostiqué. They said I was schizophrenic, and I wasn't, but I was very paranoid and very depression prone. J'étais vraiment prone à faire des dépressions, puis je savais pas pourquoi. And this is 2021. Like I haven't even started doing stand-up comedy yet. Like this is nothing. Like I haven't done anything with my life at all. I haven't done anything with my life at all yet. And but I went to like a really, really, really dark place. J'étais comme une place vraiment sombre, vraiment pas le fun. Puis il y a une phrase qui m'a vraiment aidé. C'est une phrase que je disais quand j'étais très jeune. There's one sentence that really helped me out when I was young. That I used to say when I was young that helped me out when I was in this really, really dark phase. It's Les oiseaux vont chanter, le ciel va être bleu, puis je vais aimer ça un jour. Because I was aware that like when you're in a depression, you just feel the sky is gray. You have that Charlie Brown cloud of rain on your head all the time. But like I noticed that life is beautiful still. Right now, maybe the birds are singing and the sky is blue, and I'm not enjoying it. But I told my mom, because I was medicated then. I forget what medication I was taking. Well, I was 21. No one remembers what medication you were taking when you were 21. But I remember looking outside, and because I remember when I was in grade 1, quand j'étais en grade 1, je marchais à l'école, you'd hear I don't know if I'm whistling well enough for you guys to hear it, but the little chirp. And I was walking to school, and I decided to take the long road to go to school because I enjoyed hearing those birds and like seeing the blue sky. Like it's comme un bleu peinturé, là, painted blue. Like you don't have a nicer blue than that existing. And I went back there when I was in my first depression when I was 20. And I remembered that moment, that when I was young. I remember when I was the fat kid getting laughed at when I was going to school. I just remembered feeling happy. That moment, walking to school, quand je marchais à l'école, puis les oiseaux chantaient, puis le ciel était bleu, puis j'aimais ça. When the birds were singing and the sky was blue, and I loved it. And in my head, I was telling myself, that happens often. And it's not because I'm in a depression right now that it doesn't happen. So there might be other kids, il y a d'autres enfants que comme right now, eux autres sont en train d'enjoyer qu'est-ce que moi je voyais. They're enjoying what I was seeing back then. And I told my mom this one time, we're sitting around the table. There's this one time it went so dark. My dad was still alive then, and we got into an argument, and I cut down a tree with an axe. The tree almost fell in the house. J'ai coupé un arbre avec un hache, puis comme j'ai quasiment fucké la maison là. But going back there and remembering that moment, remembering that one little thing that I liked, se rappeler de comme ce petit moment-là, quand je marchais à l'école, when I was walking to school and I was sad because I was fat and I couldn't speak French and people were laughing at me and picking on me, but I still loved going to school. And why? It was that walk. It was that little walk going to school. Puis, when I got into the depression, quand j'ai embarqué dans la dépression nouveau when I was 21, I remembered that, and it helped me get out. And I told my mom that I didn't have to go see the therapist anymore, that I knew what I had to do. Now, it would work, because like often, and this is something that happens so much if you are seeing a therapist, si vous voyez une thérapeute, when it starts to go good, don't just drop out. Don't drop out right away. You don't have to like jump ship just because, oh, you know what? Everything's great right now. I don't need this anymore. No, don't, because there's some backlash, there's some backwash, there's some, ça revient, les sentiments reviennent. It's kind of like oh, it's going bad, it's going bad, it's going bad, it's going bad. We have a breakthrough, going down, but oh, then you have another breakthrough, then you go back up, and then you think you're good, but there's still stuff that's gonna happen. Il y a encore des choses qui vont arriver. That's why, like, I just finished my 10th, mon 10e session avec une thérapeute. I've seen my therapist for the 10th time. Now we're taking a 1-month break. Instead of seeing her every week, we went from every week, on allait à chaque semaine, then it was every 2 weeks, and I'm going to see her next month, and we're weeding it off. Tu peux pas juste lâcher. You can't just quit just like that all of a sudden. I didn't even get to the dark part yet. But yeah, like, so during that moment, like, I almost committed suicide. I haven't said that in a long time. Ça fait longtemps que j'ai pas dit ça. Puis I really hope my daughter didn't hear me. J'espère que ma fille m'a pas entendu, parce que comme then, and I wanted to commit suicide in a bad way. I wanted to set myself on fire. Je voulais me immoler en feu. Oh, jeez, this is heavy. Nathan, you're going dark. And I see Mike's face. That's all I see is this picture. I'm talking to Mike's face, which is great. But c'est me crisser en feu. That's how I thought that would be the best way to die. Later on, yada, yada, yada. Years later, got into drugs. J'ai commencé à prendre beaucoup de drogue. J'ai commencé plus des pilules que d'autres choses. I never shot myself up with anything. J'ai pas pris de l'héroïne ou rien. But j'ai commencé à prendre. I wasn't taking care of myself. I was like, hey, you know what? Maybe just like die slowly. Don't take care of yourself. Don't brush your teeth. Just so for years, pour des années, je prenais beaucoup MDMH. On appelait ça l'ecstasy dans le temps, but scientifically speaking, c'était pas de l'ecstasy. But anyways, I did a lot of drugs for a while and made a lot of bad decisions, fait beaucoup de mauvaises décisions. Puis là, j'ai un moment donné, still takes the fee sit. I used to go out with this girl, and one night decided not to wear a condom. Ha! Good job there, Skipper. J'ai eu du sexe pas protégé. Puis elle a tombé enceinte. She's pregnant, and that's when I stopped everything. I totally stopped drugs. Then, like, I can't even smoke a joint. Like right now, if one of you guys are there, like, hey Nate, you want a little puff? I'll probably say no, just because, well, we're on Zoom, so that's not worth anything. Like, good job there, Joe Blow. But years later, now we're more on the future. Now we're more like in the present. In the last like 2 years, 2-3 years, 2-3 ans. On est comme rendu comme à 2-3 ans passés. J'ai 38. It's around 35. That's when I got the upgrade. I went from depression to anxiety, which for me was an upgrade. Pour moi, c'était un upgrade. J'étais content de plus avoir la dépression. J'avais de l'anxiété. And I could, at the start, I could control it. You do the breathing exercise where it's, you inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, inhale for 4 seconds. Comme ça m'arrivait, là, je travaillais, let's say this is 2000, maybe 18, 2018. That's when I started to be a high functioning anxiety human being. Je pouvais fonctionner, mais j'avais l'anxiété comme à un haut niveau. Comme I spent days working, crying, hyperventilating, not knowing why, and that's fine. See, there's 2 kinds of panic attacks. This is something that's very important. Il y a 2 choses. Comme Il y a deux sortes de panic attack. Il y a le you know why, which is the easy one. This is the one that you just go, shh, shh, that's fine. C'est correct. Ça va être correct. Ça va être correct. You're anxious because your taxes are coming up. You're anxious because you need to pay a power bill. You're anxious because you're doing a talk about mental health on Zoom. You know these things. This is fine. Shh, you know what the trigger is. The bad one is when you don't know what the trigger is. When you have no clue why you're having the panic attack. You can't calm it down. Tu peux pas le calmer. Quand tu sais pas c'est quoi ton trigger, c'est celle-là que j'avais. C'est celle-là qui m'avait comme vraiment mis dans un état parce que j'ai aucune idée pourquoi que je faisais un panic attack. I had no clue why I was doing panic attacks. And then it came and it left and I was crying. I was at work. And then a big thing about mental health right now, which I find like we're getting less and less taboo. C'est moins en moins gênant d'en parler, but because of that, I feel that some people that don't have mental health issues are using it as excuses. Il y a du monde qui a pas de l'anxiété. There's people that don't have anxiety that are calling in sick because they have anxiety. And see, that's totally false because someone that has anxiety will never call in sick. They're going to show up. They're going to be miserable and they're going to want to cry the whole shift they have, everything they're doing, because they're too calling in sick, thinking that their boss doesn't like them, doing all that. That's what anxious people don't do. They'll go through hell to like make sure everyone is are happy around them. They'll think less of themselves and give everything to others just to make sure that everyone else around them is happy. And I was like that for a long time, a long time. And not too long ago, it was too much. C'était trop. Pas longtemps passé, j'ai puis j'avais pas le choix d'aller voir quelqu'un. I didn't have any choice. I had to go see someone because, like, you see, like, my daughter saved my life. She made me stop taking drugs. Elle m'a fait arrêter de prendre la drogue. Ma fille. Elle m'a sauvé la vie. That's for sure. But c'est aussi un gros stress parce que moi, je suis père monoparental. I'm a monoparental. I don't know how to say it in English. I'm a single dad of a 14-year-old girl. And as much as I understand shit scientifically, scientifiquement, je suis très intelligent. I don't know necessarily what's going on with her. Je comprends pas nécessairement ce qui se passe dans sa tête et ses vies de tous les jours. So it's been a rough while. And then this around Christmas, and my dad died. I didn't even go through my dad dying. That's something. My sister tried to kill me. She wanted to beat up my daughter. Anyways, she's a good person now. It's okay. I'm sorry. But I feel like I'm jumping a lot of things, but I just want to give you guys the big picture. I was going to say before we get into the juice of it, but I kind of like, it's been already half an hour. So like, so I started consulting, and if you guys ever think about talking to someone, si vous jamais vous pensez aller voir consulter, one half of the battle is finding someone who can talk to you like you need to be talked to. Comme la moitié de la bataille, c'est trouver quelqu'un qui peut te parler comme tu as besoin d'être parlé. Puis, moi, elle m'a dit la chose parfaite. She told me the perfect thing. First session. So she goes and she kind of tells me who she is and what she does. And elle met sa vie sur un plateau. Elle me dit, la thérapeute a dit, c'est qui ce que je suis. So, toi, dis-moi qu'est-ce que t'es. You tell me who you are. So I putting my cards on the table, and I'm gonna mind at peace in Bathurst. The staff is beautiful, and when I mean beautiful, I mean inside. Like, I'm not talking about physically. I'm talking about they really care. And she told me, the first thing she told me, la première chose qu'elle m'a dit was, because for me, a big part of it was I was feeling guilty of being depressed, even though my life was going good. Je me sentais coupable que je me sentais triste, même si ma vie allait bien. Puis ça qu'elle m'a dit là, c'était ça it blew my mind totally. Elle dit so comme mettons quelqu'un qui a la diabète, someone with diabetes. Eux autres se sentent pas mal émotionnellement parce que leur pancréas marche pas bien. Someone with diabetes doesn't feel bad emotionally because their pancreas isn't working well. But if your brain isn't working well, people feel bad about that. So si ton cerveau fonctionne pas comme il faut, tu te sens mal about ça. Puis right là, as soon as she said that, it took like 50% of all the problems away. Psychology is something. Psychology c'est quelque chose. C'est comme, and then like there's the whole, like, you know, I have made bad choices that we didn't even get into. We didn't get into my exes and mes ex. Comment est-ce que ça m'a été, puis comment est-ce que comme I really had a tough time for a long time to make sometimes you spend too much time making everyone else happy that you're not happy, but you don't understand that if you're happy, you will easily make everyone else happy. I don't know if that makes any sense, but c'est ça que c'était pour moi. C'était comme, j'ai passé ma vie à essayer de rendre tout le monde autour de moi heureux. Puis en ça, je me suis rendu friggin' triste. Il faut que je travaille comme 18 fois plus fort pour comme rendre les autres autour de moi heureux. But si j'étais heureux in the first place, I could make way more easily people around me happy. And that's something I forgot. C'est quelque chose que j'avais oublié parce que comme j'avais mis les masques, I put the masks on. I've right now, I'm dating someone. She's excellent. She didn't even know I was a stand-up comedian. Elle savait même pas que j'étais humoriste quand on a commencé à dater. Puis là, j'ai vraiment l'impression que c'est la seule personne qui me comprend. I really feel like she's the only one who actually knows who I am, even more than I know who I am. Because she's never met any other version of Nathan. Elle n'a jamais rencontré un autre Nathan. Elle n'a jamais rencontré Nathan avec le masque de humoriste ou the mask of working or the mask of being a dad ou le masque de dog owner. she just knows me for who I am. And it's like, I don't know if you guys see, you guys see any weight on my shoulders right now? I don't know if you can see this. No weight on my shoulders. If she likes me, it's because she likes me. Si elle m'aime, elle m'aime. And I've never felt that because it's always been my reputation precedes me. Ma réputation me précède, but this is where I am now. And I really think it's important to people to talk about it. And it doesn't always have to be with the it's really good. There's numbers to call that are in the chat. Il y a des numéros à appeler qui est dans le chat. But encore plus, juste n'en parler. Sometimes, you know, when you're like, let's say stupid, this is a stupid metaphor. So you're looking for your keys. You can't find your keys. You're looking for them. You can't. Let's say then all of a sudden, out loud, tout fort, tu dis, où est-ce que mes clés? Where are my keys? That's when you think about, probably on the microwave. So just talking to yourself about it helped there. And this is keys. We understand it's not as much as an issue as what we're talking about right now, but just voicing out, putting those vibrations out, n'en parler avec des amis, avec des professionnels, avec ta blonde, avec tes enfants. Like, I'm super honest with my daughter. Like, we talked when I crashed last time in like end of January, start of February. Like, I told her, I'm like, hey, Daphne, if in the next 2-3 weeks, Dad's really not going well. If in the next few weeks, you find I'm being too strict on something or I'm overreacting, just let me know, because I'm not myself right now. And I think it's important to, and it's fine. T'as le droit. T'as le droit de vivre tes émotions. Emotions are there for a reason. You have to live them. You can't just shut them out. You can't just put them in the pack sack and put them on your back and continue on. You have to ride the wave. You have to go through it. You have to. Just suppose I'm looking for the English words, but il faut que tu le vives. You have to live them. Because you can't, tu peux pas les refouler. I'm looking for the refoulé equivalent in English, but you can't put them down and do nothing with them. You have to, they're there for a reason. They're there to warn you of dangers. They're there to te faire sentir plus confortable, connaître des dangers. Comme emotions are there for a reason, and you're feeling them for a reason. And when they have a physical when there's something physical coming out, like a panic attack or feeling tired, or it's the body telling you have to do something. Que t'as besoin de faire quelque chose. You can't feel bad about that. Tu peux pas. Parce que comme la femme a dit, like the girl, like my therapist said, we feel bad when our brain doesn't work well, because it's the hippocampus, and you know, it's the dopamine, and it's all biological. But if you sprain your ankle, you don't feel bad emotionally about spraining your ankle, which makes a lot of sense. And I'm gonna stop on that. I think it's been really nice talking to you guys. Merci beaucoup de m'avoir écouté. Puis merci. Puis if this can help one person, si ça peut aider une personne, ou si vous pouvez transmettre cette information ici à un de vos proches, if you can give this information to one of your close ones, one of your loved ones, do it, because it's really important, and it's easier and easier to talk about, but we're still not there. I think that's good. Yeah. Mike's Mike.
Thank you, Nathan, so much. Thank you so much for sharing your story. It sounds like things have been incredibly hard, and I am so proud of you working through and being able to be here today with everything going on, especially as how fresh it is. Thank you, man. Thank you so much. I just want to ask before we get going through with any of the questions, and just let everybody else know they can ask their questions in the chat. But are you okay with going on with some questions? We can see that this has been difficult for you. I just don't want to unravel anything or cause any problems for you.
No, I'm fine. I'm great.
Perfect. All right. Before I get into any of the questions or anything, you were talking about a bird call there. You were trying to make it black-capped chickadee.
Black captivity. Okay.
I knew exactly what, as soon as you started, I was like, yeah, that's a black-capped chickadee. I just was like, he needs to know this if he doesn't already.
You know, I'm actually afraid of birds also.
Dude, I understand. They are weird.
The smaller the bird, the scarier the bird is for
Well,
me.
the bigger ones I can at least hit. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Smaller
Like pigeons,
target.
They walk. Like, it's the ones that don't walk. It's the ones that swoop that are the danger.
I understand your irrational fear of birds because I feel it's rational.
Thank you. Because you're the first person that actually, you're second person. There's another person I know that's afraid of birds. But other than that, everyone, I'm afraid of the colibri, the hummingbirds.
Oh, man.
Because they can back up. They can back up and poke you back in the eye. Like, they can go boom, 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 boom.
Right. And I can't hit them. They're moving too fast.
Yeah, exactly. You know.
Moi, j'ai donné un coup de pied à un canard une fois, mais c'était en self-defense. Donc, ce n'était pas ma faute.
Du canard, c'est friggin' bon à manger, though.
Ouais.
So I've got a few questions to ask, and just remind everybody else, if you've got questions, please type them into the Q&A portion. So you were talking about how making people laugh is that mask you put on to kind of protect yourself, to hide what's going on with you. How do you find, as a stand-up comedian, that you kind of put that line between I'm putting on the mask to try to hide what's going on with me versus I'm doing this because this is what I enjoy?
That's a great question. The stand-up comedian part of me didn't come from hiding it. I think it's because I hid it before. It became of like what would be logical to do later on, kind of thing. But like Nathan on stage and Nathan at home, it's two like different. Well, now it is. For a while, like when I was going through like the tough times, they were the same person because you had to be that cool guy partying after, you know, having sex with all the women. You know what it is like, Mike.
You found women through comedy?
Yeah, it happened. Yeah.
I need to know where you're doing stand-up because
up north. but no, it like it's like I really in the last maybe 4 years really was able to separate who's the Nathan on stage and the Nathan off stage. There was a TV show called I'm thinking Slings and Daggers, or it was like from Shakespeare. So it's like it's people talking about how like why people that perform like sex, drugs, and rock and roll after is because they want that high. You're on the high of having people laugh, having this direct feed of like super nice energy, and then you walk off stage after your 7 to 12 minutes, and then you're like, oh, what's life now? So it's kind of, so that's why but like in the last 4 years, I really got a nice division on this is me in life, this is me on stage.
I understand exactly what you're talking about so well. also doing the stand-up comedy thing. I'm still working on finding that divide, although I'm still on that part where getting up on stage and complaining about my problems is just cheaper than therapy.
Yeah, exactly. But you don't get the great feedback that the therapist studied about.
No, yeah, and that is the completely unhealthy way to do it. So we're slowly working into the healthy ways of doing it. And luckily with guys like you talking about this, it's encouraging me to reach out and help with my own mental health. So at the very least, know that you're helping me out, if not everybody else watching.
But, and it's the thing is like, yeah, we do that therapy on stage, but like we don't have feedback. Like
no,
like, it's it. Like,
the best you get is, dude, that was messed up and dark.
Yeah. And then you're like, I know, right?
I know, right?
I should go see someone.
Please pay more at my shows so I can.
Yeah, exactly. Like the guy that wrote dead baby jokes for the first time in his life, he had problems.
100%. Margot, did you want to jump in on this one here? I know you got a good question.
Oui, j'ai plusieurs questions. Nathan,
nice.
tu as vécu cela toute ta vie, mais le fait de partager publiquement est encore très nouveau pour toi. Et nous pouvons vraiment voir l'impact, que ça continue d'avoir un grand impact. Alors, comment est-ce que le fait de partager a changé ta vie jusqu'à présent?
Ben ça fait pas longtemps que j'en partage. Vraiment, ça fait comme littéralement, c'est peut-être ma deuxième ou troisième fois que je partage ça avec du monde que je connais pas, comme avec des amis, puis ça, oui. C'est sûr qu'enlever le stigma, enlever le tabou, c'est cool. Je trouve ça encore rough parce que ça me rapporte à des moments que j'étais moins, que je m'aimais moins. Comme, c'est ça qui est l'affaire, c'est que comme, il y a des moments où c'est comme, je m'aimais moins. I didn't like myself. So, ça me rapporte là. But c'est un exercice que je pense qui est obligatoire. Like, I have to do it. Pour avancer moi-même, pour devenir la personne que je sais que je suis, puis d'avancer, puis m'améliorer. I need to do it. Puis je pense que tout le monde devrait le faire. So, comme, c'est ça.
Yeah. Alors, actuellement, c'est toujours un processus chaque fois.
Oh, yeah, parce que c'est comme vous avez dit tantôt, c'est fresh, là. Comme si c'est pas comme je parle pas de comme, hey, 40 ans passés, ça m'est arrivé. Non, c'est comme, on parle même pas de 1 mois, là. Puis comme je suis encore en train de travailler, comme, j'ai encore des sessions de thérapeute qui viennent, je n'ai 2 dans le mois de juin. Mais c'est important, parce que c'est pas, il n'y a rien à avoir d'être gêné. Like, don't be shy about it. It's not, you can't take it for granted. But comme, la santé mentale, c'est qui ce qu'on est. Il y a tellement de choses qui s'enlignent avec ça, comme quand ça vient à comme dormir, manger, se laver. C'est comme stupid to say, but comme, non, mais comme, c'est toutes des choses qui participent à ta santé mentale.
Alors, qu'est-ce qui t'a donné le courage, non seulement la première fois, mais chaque fois que tu t'ouvres publiquement?
Tant qu'à moi, j'ai pas le choix de le faire pour grandir. Like, ça, comme, pas que ça me tentait pas de vous parler ce soir, mais ça me stressait. Puis, tu sais, comme, j'avais de l'anxiété parce que j'allais parler de mon anxiété.
Ouais.
Ben, c'est ça, mais c'est un moment donné, si moi, parce que je suis rendu au point que je peux en parler, mais comme, si moi, je suis anxieux de parler de mon anxiété, mais what about quelqu'un d'autre qui est anxieux de parler à quelqu'un, comme à un professionnel, ou à un ami, ou à un parent, de parler de son anxiété? Si eux autres, en moi, en le faisant ici, ça se peut qu'il y a quelqu'un qui va faire, ben moi, je peux en parler avec mon cousin, ou je peux en parler avec un psychologue, ou je peux en parler avec un travailleur social, ou je peux en parler avec mon enfant. Peut-être mon enfant a besoin de parler. Tu sais, comme, there's so many layers. It's like Shrek. It's like ogres. Ogres have layers.
Which is a great segue to Mike.
So, Nathan, what was it that really inspired you to reach out? Like that moment that you knew you had to reach out again?
Again, for the second time, it was a Wednesday. I slept until 7:30 at night, and the only reason I got up is I had to make supper for my child. And I was like, I can't be this kind of dad. Like, she needs to eat, and usually, before 7:30 on a Wednesday. But that was like the one day that I couldn't even get out of my bed because I was sad, and like I just in a ball, curled up with my weighted blanket to cut the anxiety, because I thought that was going to help with my quart crystals. I'm joking. But you know what I mean? Like I was literally, I wasn't being the human I wanted to be, and that I know I am. So, and I love cooking, and I didn't like cooking anymore. And for me, cooking is the thing that brings me all the stress away. All the stress is away. Nothing else exists. I'm cooking a rack of lamb with a double stuffed baked potato with, I don't know, asparagus with bacon. That's the only thing that matters. And it's the thing that it's the only time I kind of like evacuate like all the week's stress and all the weeks. There's nothing else that matters. It's just I'm cooking. And I didn't even like cooking anymore. And when that happened, I was like, okay, I'm sending a message. I'm sending a message out to the people that I did, and I'm glad I did. Like I'm like we had like on my last session. She's like, so how do you feel? Blah blah blah. I'm like, well, when I came to see you, it's because I was there. I don't know if you can see it. It's even lower than the screen. And I was there before, but now I'm here. Like I'm 100, like I don't know, maybe 75 to 100% better than I was before feeling down. Because like we got good techniques for communication with me and my daughter, which I didn't even think my daughter was an issue, but the communication between us, I guess, was like even more an issue than I even knew. Like we didn't get into like past things because like I understand there, but like I don't know where we're going with this, but the whole, she brought me up. Like I'm not even like, it's not even I'm back to the point where I was. I'm better. I'm more happy. I appreciate stuff way more.
No, that's awesome. And it's awesome to hear from somebody who is currently working through their mental health journey that it's actually working as you're going along, because you haven't been back in very long trying to get help and are starting to feel good fairly early on in treatment, actually.
Yeah, she was really, she said I was one of, like she said, she probably said that to everyone, but she said like she was really like she was like, you did like half the work in one session. Like you were, I don't want to say woke, but woke is now a bad word. You can't say that because we're trying to cancel Snow White. But the whole, I understand what's going on. And like, I went to see her at a time where I just knew, see, I'm not a handyman. Okay. Like I can't renovate a basement. I can build a birdhouse. I have the tools to build a birdhouse. I can make a good birdhouse. But right now, I need to renovate a basement. So I need more tools. I need more technique. I didn't have those. That's why I went to see someone. Because it's not about being stupid or being a wimp or being, it's just, I don't have the tools and I don't have the technique. Please show me what to do. That's why NBCCs exist.
Yeah, and you really, to your point as well, some of the hardest part is just reaching out. Once you've done that, you've done a large chunk of the work right there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So before we jump over to Margot I know she's got a question. We do have a lovely comment and another question in here. We've got hi from Bathurst. Very inspiring. Thanks for sharing your story.
Nice.
It's always
Hi,
nice.
Bathurst.
It's always nice that when you get the little boost up there. Although we've got our question. I struggle with anxiety and depression and recently got diagnosed with bipolar type 2. I have a Facebook group to share my journey and try to educate people to reduce stigma. I would want to help by being a mental health advocate. What do you recommend to get more out there?
Social media wise, well, I think you're on the right friggin' track. That's like having a social videos work right now. Giving good examples. This is not the Bathurst person. Is this the Bathurst person? No.
Yeah, well, it's the same person.
Just because I can help. They can send me a message on Facebook if they want. But it's important to put it out there in it's not, I don't want to say tasteful manner because there's no easy way to like touch that, but the whole anxiety, depression, and bipolar, like a lot of people put that in like the same bubble, and it's not. It's all like these are different sections. These are different. So it's really educating in the right way, but you have to make, because like people, there's so many videos going around. It's like it's tough to like hit your target market. But if you already have a group, you're on the right path. And if that person wants to send me a message on my Facebook page or whatever, we could talk about it definitely. Also, magnesium. I started taking magnesium for my anxiety. Really helps. Gives you the shits, but really helps. It does. No joke.
That is awesome. And it really does. Carrying this conversation like we're doing now is something, the more people that do it, the more you recognize people are out there are just like you, the guy next door, the person you work with. When we're all talking about it, it loses a lot of that stigma. It's just really about getting the voices out there, right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And it exists like, and like even add the people that aren't even diagnosed. Like,
oh, yeah.
You know how many people have anxiety that have no clue they have anxiety? Like
a lot.
Oh yeah. Go to a four-way stop. Like just see people at a four-way stop. You can see who has anxiety and who doesn't have anxiety.
100%. We do have another question that did come in English. Or no, I guess more of a comment. Nathan, sharing your journey was very courageous. Thank you so much for showing your vulnerability and keeping it real. Mental health is so real. We all have mental health, and it's so important to check in with yourself and take care of you. Asking for help is very much taking care of you. Mm-hmm. So good work on taking care of you, bud.
Thanks, Lori.
Margot, you want to jump in there? I know you got some stuff brewing. I can see it in your eyes.
Oui, j'avais une question. Alors, ta famille est très bien connue dans la région. Et je crois comprendre de ton discours que tu as un héritage familial d'un autre type aussi, des difficultés de santé mentale. Oui. Et maintenant, toi, tu es un père, tu es un parent toi-même. Alors, comment le fait d'aborder ta santé mentale, est-ce qu'il t'a aidé en tant que parent? Et est-ce qu'il y a des choses que tu fais différemment avec elle que tes parents ont fait avec toi?
Très honnête. Je suis super honnête avec ma fille. Comme quand je file pas, c'est pas un comme papa file pas. C'est pas ça, là. C'est comme, regarde, papa est triste aujourd'hui. C'est une mauvaise journée. Comme je vais faire le craft dinner. Puis peut-être tu pourras jouer au Xbox après. Papa va aller se coucher. Mais c'est en faisant ça, j'espère que c'est comme elle va pas avoir de trouble à en parler. Comme moi, en étant ouvert avec elle, puis dire que Papa a une mauvaise journée. Puis pas comme papa. On se fait tout dire ça par nos parents aussi, là, comme genre, oh, j'ai une mauvaise journée. Mais comme, it's not an excuse. Là. C'est pas une excuse que je fais. C'est littéralement prévenir, papa a une mauvaise journée. So, qu'est-ce que toi tu as besoin? Je vais faire ce que tu as besoin. On va faire ce qu'on a besoin de faire, mais comme, it's not an excuse. Je suis pas en train de comme la brusher off ou rien. But je trouve que c'est important que comme si moi je peux en parler avec elle, super easy. Elle, maybe, plus tard, elle va pouvoir en parler super easy aussi. C'est ça que j'espère que j'y donne. Comme mes parents ont eu de la misère à en parler avec moi. Comme ça, c'était pas great parce que les autres passaient à travers de ce qu'ils ont passé. But moi, j'espère de rendre ça que comme elle comprend que comme c'est normal. Puis comme je disais, il faut vivre tes émotions. You have to live it. Tu passes à travers, puis là, on va passer à travers ça ensemble, you know, like, on va watcher Frozen, ben on va se coller à watcher Disney+, tu sais. Papa, tu sais ce que je veux dire? So,
c'est de créer quelque chose de différent pour elle.
Yeah, exactement, pour que comme Yel, plus tard, quand Yel va avoir, parce que tu sais, à un moment donné, some of it's physical, il y a des choses qui est comme biologiques, so she might be going through this later.
Exactly.
So si elle a vu son père super tough, super Hulk, Captain America, Iron Man, tough guy.
Certainement ce que je pense quand je te regarde.
Exactement. Je suis pas fâché right now, c'est correct. But c'est comme si elle a voix de même, puis que moi je peux dire que I'm having a bad day. I can talk about it. C'est super calme. C'est pas comme I'm having a bad day. Non, c'est comme Daphne, just let you know, Dad's having a bad day. I cried. You know, I didn't sleep well. Je souffre d'insomnie aussi. I have a lot of insomnia. So comme des fois c'est comme, you know, Dad literally slept an hour last night in a row. So it's just like, so you understand. So and like comme quand est-ce que j'avais tapé le plus creux de comme ma dernière crise d'anxiété, dépression, j'ai literally dit comme si j'overreact, tu me dis là, puis je vais prendre 30 secondes. C'est comme mettons que comme whatever, elle fait pas la vaisselle. Ça arrive souvent qu'elle fait pas la vaisselle. Elle est supposée faire la vaisselle, elle fait pas la vaisselle. Ça arrive souvent. Mais comme si je overreact une journée, elle dit Dad, I think you're overreacting because of how you're feeling or because of this. Puis je fais comme OK, maintenant je prends une minute, je m'en vais. I take a pause. Then I come back and then it's like, no, I wasn't overreacting. Ooh, yes, I was overreacting. You know what I mean? It all depends on. Parce que tu sais, elle peut pas user ça comme excuse non plus là. Like she can't use it as an excuse, but it gives me time to like think about it and then go, no, I would have acted like that if I'd be happy. Ooh, yeah, I overreacted and sorry, Daphne, you know.
C'est basé sur une conversation. Vous avez déjà eu la conversation, donc vous pouvez le discuter. C'est un élément d'une conversation au lieu d'être quelque chose pas discuté ou caché.
Yeah, exactement. Puis c'est ça que j'espère que j'y donne pour elle later on. Comme elle, quand elle va être adulte. Dans ses relations amicales ou amoureuses, qu'elle peut aller puis faire Hey, babe, I'm depressed. So, look, don't be angry at me si je te réponds comme sec ou si c'est pas une bonne journée. C'est comme, we have to, because then il y a la fausse culpabilité, there's the false guilt that comes in. Puis ça, c'est pire, parce que tu fais comme, tu feel bad about feeling bad pour quelque chose que tu devrais pas feeling bad, puis là, you're back on yourself.
And then, layers and layers.
Exactly. And then you go back and you're angry at that person because you feel bad about what you said. But it doesn't make any sense, you know? C'est ça, j'espère que, étant le père que je suis, que ça smooth out for her later on.
Ouais. Excellent. C'est tellement important de changer le futur de la prochaine génération.
Exactement.
Avoir la conversation, non seulement avec elle, mais avec toi-même.
Yeah, exactement. C'est ça.
Ouais. So, Mike, it looks like we have a question in the popping up in the chat.
Well, actually, it's not a question. We have a great comment. Thank you for sharing. It was really very interesting. And that's my mom asking that. So happy Mother's Day, Mom. And thank you very much for typing that into us. We're just getting ready to wrap up here. I did have one question. So not necessarily on the deep days, but the days that you start going and you know you're going towards those bad days. Is there anything you do to try to pull yourself out of it before you get there, or just something that cheers you up and keeps you going that little bit?
Being outside, walking, sleeping. That like sleeping is so underestimated. Like if you lack like 2 hours of sleep every night for a week, then you all of a sudden get those hours back. It's relaxing. I like the smell of fresh air. I like it's gonna sound pyromanic, but I like looking at fire, but like like a campfire, not a house.
Well, we've actually had that discussed earlier in the week. People doing candle gazing, staring into a lit candle, just to kind of. So it's not an unusual thing.
But yeah, it's that little dancing of the fire. It's very calming. But like, I also have a few like playlists on Spotify. That's kind of like, it's like not the talking, just like the breathing and the calm music and stuff like that. But yeah, I for sure sleep is like number one. Eating well, getting your 3 meals a day. Also very underestimated. Like you get your fruit and yogurt. You don't have to eat a whole bunch, but it's just like if the more you cut down, like that's the vicious cycle. Like when you're going into it, is that you're sleeping longer, so you wake up at 3 p.m. You only have supper, then you only go to sleep at like 4 a.m. because you slept till 3, and then so like all of that. So you try to like get back on a routine schedule, the kind of like, okay, this is the normal thing that humans do. We get up around 7, 8, we go to bed around 9, 10, 11. You try to, it doesn't work often, but you kind of just try to put it back like a little on cycle.
You try to do human stuff.
Human stuff, adult stuff, like wear long johns.
Exactly. Well, and it almost, to your point, it almost sounds like when you're trying to diagnose a problem with a car. You can't really fix the computer that's controlling everything if you don't have fuel, if you don't have oil, if you don't have, the battery charged up.
Exactly. Yeah.
Nothing else is going to work right if you don't have the basics.
Exactly. You need that.
Oh, exactly. So just before we wrap all of this up, is there anything you wanted to say in closing, everybody?
Just thank you. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you. You guys did a great job, Margot and Mike. Thank you, Lori, for inviting me. And everyone that watched, like I say, pass this in for, even if there's like one sentence that I said that makes sense, just one of them. Just tell them to your loved ones, tell them to your friends. Dis-le à vos amis, they might find it weird when you go up to them and you say, "Hi, I'm Nathan Dimitroff," but that's the one sentence you got. Hey, good. I changed someone's life.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much. Just want to remind everybody about tomorrow. The Canadian Mental Health Society of New Brunswick is doing a digital detox day. So, hey, try turning off your phone for a full 24-hour. Avoid the media, avoid TV, all of that. Read a book. Get out and enjoy some nature. See if you can find a black-capped chickadee and enjoy it as much as Nathan does.
Exactly. I loved it.
Oh, it's beautiful. But yes, thank you very much. Thank you, Nathan, for being here. We really appreciate you sharing everything.
Thanks a lot, Mike.
We can see how much effort you put into this, and we truly appreciate it. And Margot.
Merci. Oui, mais merci, Nathan, tellement d'être ici. Et merci à vous tous dans l'audience pour votre participation. Et merci aussi à l'Association canadienne pour la santé mentale de Nouveau-Brunswick d'avoir organisé cette série de conférences qui vraiment ont eu un grand impact sur moi. Hein. Donc, j'espère qu'ils ont eu un impact semblable pour vous tous dans l'audience.
And perfect. With all of that, we just want to make sure we thank all of you who stuck through this, watched this with us, all of our participants, everybody who put this together. Thank you so much for doing all this. And please, everyone out there, I hope you have a lovely evening. I hope you have got everything out of this that we hope. And I really, really, really hope that if you need help, you reach out. So please, everyone, try to stay happy, healthy, hydrated, and well out there. We'll talk to you again, hopefully sooner rather than later. Be well, guys.